Beyond the Alps lay lands Rome claimed, but did not truly control.
In Rome, Gaul was a political exile, a graveyard for ambition. To Caesar, it was opportunity.
Julius Caesar did not ride into Gaul as a conqueror. No cheers, no trumpets, no glory. Empires are not preserved in marble halls. They are forged in mud, blood, and fear.
To Rome, Gaul was barbarian. To Caesar, it was raw human reality.
He studied their alliances, their rivalries, their pride. Caesar did not underestimate his enemy.
The legions were experienced, but not loyal. In Gaul, they would learn to serve a man.
The Helvetii moved first, a people on the march, as if Rome no longer mattered.
The Senate hesitated. Caesar did not. Fortifications rose with impossible speed.
No speeches. No ceremony. Discipline met fury.
Caesar did not exaggerate victory. He recorded it.
Others ruled from horseback. Caesar ruled from the mud.
Victory did not bring peace. It brought resistance.
He forgave selectively. He punished decisively. Gaul whispered one name. And in Rome, senators felt fear. This was not just war. It was narrative. Caesar's early victories did not crush Gaul. They educated it.
This was no longer civilization versus savagery. It was war between equals.
And Caesar welcomed it. Because true generals are revealed when control slips away.
Roman armies did not campaign in winter. Caesar broke that rule. As snow buried the land, Caesar divided his forces across enemy territory.
Gaul struck back. Camps burned. Messengers never returned.
One legion was surrounded, outnumbered, cut off, days from annihilation.
Caesar marched through frozen nights. No rest. No hesitation.
For a moment, the myth of Caesar wavered.
Then he stepped into the fight, not commanding, but fighting!
The men saw him not as a politician, but as one of them.
The legion held, and Gaul broke. From that day forward, the legions did not fight for Rome. They fought for Caesar.
That loyalty terrified the Senate more than any battle.
At last, Gaul found its answer. One leader, one name.
Vercingetorix knew he could not defeat Caesar head-on. So he turned Gaul itself into a weapon.
Caesar marched through a land designed to starve him. For the first time, Rome's discipline meant nothing without food.
Vercingetorix chose his ground carefully. Alesia. Many generals would have walked away. Caesar chose to trap the trap.
Julius Caesar did not ride into Gaul as a conqueror. There were no cheers, no trumpets, no crowds calling his name. In Rome, his appointment as governor of Gaul felt administrative, almost forgettable, a political compromise, a way to move a dangerous man far from the capital. To many senators, Gaul was a graveyard for ambition. To Caesar, it was opportunity. Beyond the Alps lay lands Rome claimed, but did not truly control. Vast forests, fierce tribes, endless frontiers where order dissolved into survival. And Caesar understood something Rome's elite had forgotten. Empires are not preserved in marble halls. They are forged in mud, blood, and fear. Gaul was not one place. It was many worlds colliding. Tribes with ancient grudges, warriors who fought naked except for shields and scars, chiefs who ruled by charisma, not law, lands where Rome's name carried no authority, only curiosity and resentment. To Rome, Gaul was barbarian. To Caesar, it was raw human reality. He studied them, their alliances, their rivalries, their pride. Caesar did not underestimate his enemy. That was the first difference. The legions Caesar inherited were experienced, but not loyal. They had fought before, they had bled before, but not for him. In Rome, soldiers served the Republic. In Gaul, they would learn to serve a man. Caesar walked among them daily. He learned names. He listened to complaints. He shared hardships. Commanders before him ruled from horseback. Caesar ruled from the mud. And slowly, something shifted. The Helvetii moved first. A mass migration? Men, women, children, wagons stretching for miles. They burned their own villages behind them and marched through Roman territory as if Rome were already irrelevant. The Senate hesitated. Caesar did not. He blocked their path, not with arrogance, but with calculation. When talks failed, Caesar ordered fortifications built with impossible speed, trenches, walls, towers. The enemy watched in disbelief. This was not how Roman governors behaved. This was how generals were born. The first major clash was brutal. No ceremony, no speeches, just sudden violence. Roman discipline met tribal fury. Shields locked, swords thrust. Men screamed in languages neither side cared to understand. When the dust settled, Rome stood. And Gaul noticed. Caesar did not exaggerate the victory. He recorded it, coldly, precisely, in words that would travel back to Rome. This was not just war. It was narrative. Caesar wrote as he fought. Every battle became a lesson. Every victory became proof. He framed himself not as a butcher, but as a protector of Rome, a bringer of order to chaos. The Senate read his reports with growing unease. Too clear, too confident, too effective. Men who fail are harmless. Men who succeed become dangerous. Victory did not bring peace. It brought resistance. Tribes united who had hated each other for generations. Chieftains who had never bowed now shared counsels. Gaul learned quickly, and so did Caesar. This would not be a single war. This would be transformation. Caesar changed how Rome fought. Speed replaced caution. Intelligence replaced brute force. Psychology replaced intimidation. He struck unexpectedly. He forgave selectively. He punished decisively. Villages that resisted vanished. Villages that surrendered survived. Gaul learned the rules. So did Rome's enemies watching from afar. After months of hardship, something undeniable emerged. The soldiers stopped asking if they would win. They asked when. Caesar shared their danger, ate their food, endured their marches. When they faltered, he stood. When they feared, he laughed. Confidence, like fear, is contagious. And Caesar spread it deliberately. By the end of the first campaign season, Gaul whispered one name, not Rome, not Republic. Caesar. Enemies feared him. Allies respected him. His soldiers trusted him. And in Rome, senators began to feel something unfamiliar. Not anger. Fear. Caesar's early victories did not crush Gaul. They educated it. The tribes began to adapt. They stopped charging blindly. They learned Roman formations. They studied supply lines. They watched, waited, and chose their moments carefully. This was no longer a clash between civilization and savagery. It was war between equals, and Caesar welcomed it because true generals are not revealed by easy victories. They are revealed when control slips away. Roman armies did not campaign in winter. That rule had kept generals alive for centuries. Caesar broke it. As snow buried the land and rivers froze, he split his forces across hostile territory. Supplies ran thin. Scouts' communication faltered. Gaul struck back hard. Isolated Roman units were ambushed. Camps burned. Messengers never returned. For the first time, Caesar was losing control, and Rome was watching. One legion was surrounded, outnumbered, cut off. Days from annihilation, Caesar marched through frozen nights to reach them. No rest, no hesitation. When he arrived, the battle erupted immediately. Chaotic, desperate, unforgiving, Roman discipline cracked. Men panicked. For a moment, just a moment, the myth of Caesar wavered. Then he stepped into the fighting himself. Caesar fought alongside his soldiers, not directing, not commanding, fighting. Blood stained his armor. Mud clung to his cloak. He shouted orders hoarse with exhaustion. The men saw him, not as a governor, not as a politician, but as one of them. The legion held, and Gaul broke. After the battle, Caesar did not punish fear. He rewarded endurance. He praised men publicly. Promoted from the ranks, remembered names. From that day forward, the legions did not fight for Rome. They fought for Caesar. This loyalty terrified the Senate more than any battle report. Gaul exploded into full rebellion. Entire regions rose at once. Cities fortified themselves. Armies gathered in numbers Rome had never faced beyond the Alps. Caesar responded with speed bordering on madness. He attacked multiple fronts simultaneously, marched legions impossible distances, appeared where enemies felt safest. It felt supernatural. It was preparation. Caesar understood fear better than swords. He spared enemies who surrendered quickly. He destroyed those who hesitated. He spread rumors deliberately, manipulated tribal rivalries, turned leaders against their own people. War was not just killing. It was convincing others not to fight at all. Reports flooded the Senate. Victory after victory, campaigns that should have failed, an army growing richer, tougher, and fiercely loyal. Caesar's name dominated conversation. Some senators praised him. Others whispered warnings. A general winning too much is not a hero. He is a threat. At last, Gaul found its answer. A single leader, young, brilliant, Vercingetorix. Where Caesar brought discipline, he brought unity. Where Rome relied on order, Gaul relied on passion. For the first time, Caesar faced an enemy who mirrored him. And the war changed. Vercingetorix refused open battle. He burned villages, destroyed supplies, starved Roman legions slowly. Caesar's army suffered. Hunger returned. Doubt crept in. Victory was no longer inevitable. For the first time, Caesar could lose everything. Vercingetorix knew he could not defeat Caesar head-on, so he refused to try. Instead, he turned Gaul itself into a weapon. Fields burned. Granaries emptied. Villages vanished overnight. Caesar marched through a land designed to starve him. Every step forward cost lives. And for the first time, Caesar faced a truth he could not outmaneuver easily. Rome's discipline lent nothing without food. Vercingetorix chose his ground carefully. A hilltop fortress, Alesia, steep slopes, natural defenses perfect for endurance. He retreated inside and waited. Many generals would have walked away. Caesar did the opposite. He decided to trap the trap. Caesar ordered walls built around Alesia, not one wall. 2. An inner wall to imprison Vercingetorix. An outer wall to face any army coming to rescue him. It was madness. Roman soldiers dug day and night. Trenches, towers, spikes hidden in the earth. Traps designed not to kill, but to cripple. The enemy laughed. Then they realized Caesar was serious. Word spread across Gaul. Rome had surrounded an entire city. Tribes answered the call. Tens of thousands gathered to crush Caesar's legions between two armies. The trap tightened. Not for Vercingetorix, for Caesar. Inside Alesia, hunger began to rule. Vercingetorix made an impossible choice. He sent civilians, women, children, the old, out of the city, begging. Caesar refused them passage. They starved between the walls. History would never forget that moment. Neither would Caesar. The relief army attacked at dawn. Waves of warriors crashed against Caesar's outer defenses. The earth shook. The sky darkened with arrows. Caesar ran the walls personally, directing, correcting, inspiring. He slept only minutes at a time. If any section broke, everything would collapse. The outer wall buckled. Gauls poured in. Roman soldiers began to fall back. This was it. One breach, one mistake, one lost heartbeat. Caesar took off his helmet and stepped into the line. he raised his voice above the chaos. He did not promise safety. He promised memory. He promised that Rome would never forget those who stood with him now. The soldiers rallied. Counterattack followed counterattack. At last, against all odds, the relief army broke. Vercingetorix watched from Alesia as hope died. The next morning, the gates opened. Vercingetorix rode out. He circled Caesar silently, then dismounted, laid down his weapons, and knelt. Gaul was defeated. News hit Rome like thunder. An entire continent subdued, a general undefeated, an army loyal beyond reason. The
Gaul
Senate celebrated
whispered
publicly.
one name.
Privately, they panicked.
And in Rome,
because Julius Caesar no
senators
longer
felt
needed
fear.
Rome. Rome needed him. Vercingetorix chose the battlefield carefully.
This
A
was not
fortified
just
hilltop
war.
city, Alesia, high ground,
narrative.
strong walls. Tens of thousands of warriors inside. He retreated there on purpose to force Caesar into a siege. For most generals, this would have been a relief. Time
This
to
was
starve
no
the
longer
enemy.
civilization
Time to
versus
rest.
Savagery.
For Caesar,
It
it
was
was a
war
nightmare,
between
because
equals.
Gaul was not done fighting. Caesar knew what Vercingetorix planned. A massive relief army was gathering. Hundreds of thousands from across Gaul. They would attack from the outside while the city struck from within. Any normal commander would retreat. Caesar did the opposite. He ordered his men to build 2 walls, one facing the city, one facing outward, against an army that had not yet arrived. His officers stared at him in disbelief. This was not defense, this was madness. Day and night the legions worked. Trenches deeper than a man, walls reinforced with timber and stone, traps buried beneath the soul, slates, pits, blades, all while under constant harassment. Men collapsed from exhaustion, hands blood, morale wavered. Caesar did not slow them, he worked alongside them, because if the walls failed, Rome would fall with them. The relief army arrived like a storm, endless warriors stretching to the horizon, drums pounding, cries echoing across the plains. Inside Alesia, Vercingetorix smiled. Caesar was surrounded. Rome had never faced this. The assault began at dawn. Gauls charged the outer walls. At the same time, defenders surged from the city. Roman soldiers fought facing outward, then turned and fought inward. No rest, no retreat, just survival. Caesar rode everywhere at once, shouting orders, reinforcing weak points, appearing wherever panic spread. To the soldiers, it felt like he was everywhere. Unstoppable. The Gauls attacked again, harder. The walls shook. Men fell screaming into trenches. Roman lines bent dangerously. Caesar committed his last reserves. There would be no second chance. If this failed, Gaul would be free, and Caesar would be finished. At the weakest section of the wall, Caesar dismounted. He removed his helmet so his men could see his face. He did not shout. He simply stood. And that was enough. The legions surged forward. Discipline overcame numbers. Training overcame fury. The Gauls broke. First slowly, then
Caesar
completely.
marched through
The
frozen
relief
nights.
army collapsed. Inside
rest.
Alesia, hope died.
No
Vercingetorix understood what defeat meant, not just for him but for all of Gaul. The next day, he rode out alone, laid down his weapons, and surrendered himself to Caesar. Caesar spared him, not out of kindness, but calculation. Vercingetorix would be paraded in Rome, proof that resistance was futile. Gaul was conquered. But something else had happened. Caesar had done what no Roman had done before. He had defeated an entire people united against him. News reached Rome like thunder. Alesia, an impossible victory. A general who built walls against the world and won. The people celebrated. The Senate froze. Because Caesar no longer looked like a servant of the Republic. He looked like its replacement. Vercingetorix chose his ground carefully. A hilltop fortress surrounded by rivers and forests. Natural defenses layered upon human ingenuity. Strong walls, deep trenches, thousands of warriors inside. Alesia. To any other Roman commander, this was a signal to retreat. To Caesar, it was destiny. If Gaul had united behind one man, then one decisive victory could break it forever. Caesar chose siege. Caesar's army was outnumbered. Inside Alesia stood tens of thousands of Gauls. Outside, relief forces were gathering, an even larger army racing
Roman
to crush
armies
the
did not
Romans between
campaign
them.
in winter.
Caesar chose to do the
Caesar
unthinkable.
broke that
He
rule.
ordered his men to build 2 walls, one facing inward to starve Alesia, one facing outward to defend against rescue. Rome had never attempted this. The soldiers stared at him in silence. Then they began digging. Trenches spread across the landscape. Towers rose. Hidden pits filled with sharpened stakes waited beneath leaves and soil. Caesar turned terrain into terror. Day and night, the legions worked. Hands blistered. Sleep vanished. Every shovel of dirt was an act of faith. If Caesar was wrong, they would all die here. Inside Alesia, hunger began to rule. Supplies dwindled. Animals were slaughtered. Hope thinned. Vercingetorix says for help. Outside, Caesar watched and waited. This was not cruelty. It was calculation. The relief army arrived like a storm. Thousands upon thousands poured into the hills, surrounding Caesar's outer defenses. Horns blared. War cries shattered the air. Rome was now trapped between two enemies. Caesar did not retreat. He prepared. The fighting never stopped. Gauls attacked from outside. Gauls surged from inside. Roman lines bent but did not break. Men fought without sleep, without food, without mercy. Caesar rode the lines constantly, appearing where the fighting was worst, not hiding, not commanding from safety, leading. On the third day, Roman defenses cracked. A section of wall fell. Gauls flooded through. Panic spread. This was the moment every enemy waited for, the moment Rome finally failed. Caesar saw it instantly, and he gambled everything. Caesar dismounted, he took a shield, and he ran toward the breach. His red cloak became a signal across the battlefield. The soldiers saw him, and they followed. The counterattack was savage. Roman discipline slammed into Gaulish fury. The breach closed, and Gaul broke. Days later, the gates of Alesia opened. Vercingetorix rode out alone. He dismounted, removed his armor, and placed his sword at Caesar's feet. Gaul had lost, not because it was weak, but because Caesar was relentless. News of Alesia reached Rome like thunder. A war that should have dragged on for decades ended in a single decisive campaign. Caesar had not just conquered Gaul, he had rewritten Roman warfare. The Senate celebrated publicly. Privately, they panicked. Caesar now commanded battle-hardened legions, immense wealth, unquestioned loyalty, and most dangerous of all, popular support. Rome adored winners. Rome feared them even more. Caesar's letters grew more confident, his tone less apologetic. He no longer asked Rome what to do, he informed it. The balance of power shifted quietly, and the Senate felt it slipping away. Whispers began again. A general with this much loyalty, this much fame, this much success, was Rome still in control? Or was Rome already following him? Julius Caesar stood at the height of military glory. Gaul was conquered. His army adored him. The people praised him. But in Rome, something darker was growing. Fear, because Rome had seen this before, and it never ended peacefully.